All right, the latest episode of the podcast, as I said before, is... well, I didn't say before, did I? I said you could wait and see. So, here I am telling you what it is. It is Dustin's review of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. The Secrets of Dumbledore, I think it's called. Not sure. I'm not going to Google it. Don't care. So yeah, this is for those of you who have seen the movie. You want to hear our thoughts or Dustin's thoughts. My thoughts on the franchise are well publicized and not positive. And Dustin has his as well. So without further ado, here is the episode and the review. Please enjoy. Please enjoy. Please enjoy. All right, Dustin.
All right, so yeah, I just wanted to talk about Fantastic Beasts, The Secrets of Dumbledore for a second. This is the third film in the Fantastic Beasts franchise. It is now streaming on HBO Max, and as I have HBO Max, I thought, why not? Turns out that was the worst decision I've ever made in my life, as this film is I gave it 1.5 stars.
Yeah.
Let's be frank. So Fantastic Beasts 1, whatever that was called, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them,
Yeah.
was fine. Like, it was like, okay, it's fine, but kind of just barely it's fine, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Fantastic Beasts 2, The Crimes of Dumbledore, I think it is. I mean, The Crimes of Grindelwald.
The Crimes of Dumbledore.
The Crimes of Dumbledore.
He's an arsonist.
Oh, no.
He's a menace.
The Crimes of Grindelwald was awful, and it was one of my favorite things after that film came out, just to watch people just tear at a new one, because it is a terrible movie. So I went into this one like, this can't be as bad.
It's almost, and we don't usually like to revel in hatred of movies.
Yes, right.
But after you've seen a movie and you were so surprised by how much you did not like it, sometimes the only way that you feel like you're going to get your time back is by spending time watching other people who share your frustration.
Correct.
And
that's what it was.
Yeah.
It was so cathartic to listen to people also be frustrated, because I'm I can't be the only one.
You feel like you get something back. Like at least watching this movie made me like informed enough to enjoy this video I'm watching about how bad this movie is.
Or it's like I was so this movie failed to entertain me so much. At least this YouTube video about the movie is entertaining. You know what I mean? Like,
a video that I would not understand fully had I not seen the film.
That is correct.
Yeah, exactly.
So Fantastic Beasts 3, I was like, look, whatever, I don't care, but I'm a completionist, so I'm gonna watch it, and let's just get this over with. Fantastic Beasts: The Secret of Dumbledore is directed by David Yates. So yet again, screenplay by J.K. Rowling and Steve Kloves. Okay, great. All the pieces are there, except J.K. Rowling shouldn't be writing screenplays, but all the pieces are there. And then we have our cast: Eddie Redmayne's back, Jude Law, Ezra Miller, Dan Fogler, Mads Mikkelsen takes over for Johnny Depp in the role of Grindelwald.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of other people who have no point to their characters whatsoever. And granted, most of the people I just mentioned also have no point, so it's fine. They all do as much as you can possibly do with this script. The problem is there's just no script here, and the whole thing is pointless. So look, I don't have a lot to say about this, because it like I said, it can't be worse than the second one, right? Well, yes and no. Like, it did not make me as outright angry as the second one did, but it almost did something that could be worse in some cases, which is I just don't care, and it's so forgettable. So it's almost like, if we look at our 5-star rating, and like 3 is it's fine, and 2 is it didn't piss me off, and 1 is it did piss me off.
Mm-hmm.
This is 1.5, because it didn't really piss me off, but it pissed me off that it didn't piss me off. And I'm like sitting there and I can't quite figure out like why I don't care about any of this.
Right.
Where has this gone so wrong that I don't care about anything that's happening? Not one thing. There is not one storyline in this film that I was interested in. There are multiple storylines, and all of them were garbage.
It's because you care about Harry and you don't care about the story world.
Oh, it's because I like characters and not just settings. Whoa. Okay. So you can't just make a movie about Gotham City. You have to make a movie about a character named Batman that lives within Gotham City. Oh, wow. Novel concept. That's all this is. What's it about? The Wizarding World. Who's it about? Also the Wizarding World. Why? Because the Wizarding World exists. That's why. Like, that's all there is to this movie. And I care about none of these characters. So, yeah, I just don't have anything to say. Like, it's boring. It's uninteresting. Nothing of note happens. And the only thing we learn about the Wizarding World, which I guess this is a spoiler. You cool with that, Hoop?
Oh, I'm cool.
The only thing we learn about the Wizarding World in this film, because we're not learning about characters, so we're just learning about the setting. The only thing we learn about the Wizarding World in this film is that they elect their leaders not based on elections, but whether or not a magic deer bows to you. That's what there's a creature. There's a creature named the Chillin, and the Chillin is so. I'm not kidding. The Chillin is so pure of heart that when I'm not making this up. This is straight from the film.
This is like the Wizarding World's Groundhog Day.
Yeah. So the Chillin is so pure of heart that as it approaches a person, if it senses that you too are pure at heart, it will bow to you. And this is how the Wizarding World finds its leaders, because they grab a Chillin and they say, "Yo, Chillin, go bow to this.
Go. Meet me at the Dairy Queen." I don't know.
At the Dairy Queen. And hey, Chillin, walk over here, and whoever you bow to, that's our new president. Like, that's basically how it works. And it's the dumbest crap. Oh. And Grindelwald's master plan, his big master plan, is I'm going to bewitch a Chillin so that it bows to me, and I will be the president of all things.
Oh my God.
And it's up to Newt Scamander.
I'm going to tamper with the votes.
And yes, it is a rigged election film.
Chillin' fraud.
A Chillin' fraud. And it's up to Newt Scamander and Albus Dumbledore to grab another Chillin and get it to reveal the truth. And that's all that it is. And the only other thing we learn is that now canonically in the films, Dumbledore is actually gay in the films.
Right.
So now that's an actual thing. It exists now in the canon.
Mm-hmm.
It always did, but I guess there's just never the guts behind it to make it an actual thing.
Yeah.
Well, now it is. Too little, too late.
Yeah, considering this is a lame duck movie. Like, this was going to be the last one they made. So even if this one tanked solely because they had a gay character, they knew they could just say, "Well, we did it."
And it took 11 films.
Yeah, seriously.
Such bravery.
So brave. So brave, Warner Brothers.
Right. But yeah, and like, so nothing happens, and it's just is dumb. It's dumb.
You know,
and yeah.
Somebody I work with, and I shouldn't get angry about things that have nothing to do with me, things other people choose to do.
Yeah, sure.
But like multiple times, and this guy is very opinionated. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna go see that. Whenever it was, months ago, like, yeah, I'm gonna go see the Fantastic Beasts. I'm really excited, and I was just like, and like it would come up every now and then that it was like, and he'd like tell other people like, yeah, no, and then like after he saw it, he goes, "It's great." I was like, God. It just bothered me, and then the here's what pissed me off. Finally, he was like, he might be listening, so I don't want, but he was like, it's okay. I've told him this to his face. He was like, yeah, it's a new Harry Potter movie. And I was like, oh, I was like, that's it. I was like, it's not the new Harry Potter movie. It takes place in the woods. And as soon as I started explaining it, I was like, I just sound like an angry nerd, but I was like, it's not the new Harry Potter movie. Harry Potter's not in this movie. It is the third movie in a prequel series. And I had to do the whole thing where it's like, well, have you seen them? And I was like, no, I've seen the first one and I did not like it. So I didn't want to see the other two because all my friends told me they were worse. And so then I realized, like, objectively, that I just sounded like an ill-informed prick. So, but it bothered me because he's like, the new Harry Potter movie. I was like, but that's not what it is.
Right.
And it bothers me that others like him are bewitched to consider these all the same thing. And that the idea that by telling someone it's the new Harry Potter film, you might get someone who doesn't look up anything to come see this movie because there's wizards in it and it's technically related to Harry Potter. And it's just like, it bothers me, I guess. It's the perfect example of why you don't just endlessly milk a franchise until all that's coming out of that teat is air, baby.
Yeah.
You're just
That's what they're doing though. Yeah. Like I have no doubt that, like, on paper somebody at one time said, and it was J.K. Rowling. Who said this is an interesting story because it's about a guy and, like, did the thing. The mistake was, oh crap, now I got to do this 5 movies worth. Like, I have to stretch out this nugget of an idea into 5 movies, and that is one of the biggest problems.
Wait a minute, are they making 2 more?
That was the original plan. I don't know if they will or not after this one, but that was the original plan, was for 5. And a lot of money. And I'm just like, look, I want David Yates to move on, because to me, David Yates is just like treading water. Yeah, there's nothing novel about this. It's just is, it's just like the exact same. He has not progressed as an artist since the Deathly Hallows, because there's nothing here to suggest that he's doing anything new or different or cool or fun. And J.K. Rowling certainly can't write a script, and she pulled in Steve Kloves this time, but even he can't save this because there's just no character here. And the plot is needlessly convoluted. There's so many like big blockbuster effect heavy duels, and I'm like, yeah, but Harry Potter was never this. Yeah, like there's a whole moment where Dumbledore is being followed by Ezra Miller's character, and so he does a thing that makes no sense. He's looking, so Dumbledore's looking into a mirror, like into a shop window, and at his reflection, and he sees Credence behind him, and he like whispers or something. Anyway, somehow like a droplet of water comes from Dumbledore. Maybe it comes from his wand. I don't know. Anyway, a droplet of water. Let's say like a macro photography of this droplet of water. The camera follows it. It hits the glass storefront and then ripples all around. And then the camera like spins. And now it's just like Dumbledore and Credence talking, evidently in this like mirror dimension, like Doctor Strange or something. And they have this big duel where like the buildings are collapsing in on each other, like Doctor Strange, and like everything's like, crazy, and they're like throwing their wands around, and no one's saying any audible spells because J.K. Rowling can't be bothered anymore. And like the landscape is just twisting, and they're like throwing, like buildings are being deconstructed and the bricks are being shot, and like this whole thing. Wow. And then eventually he puts Credence down, and Credence falls in like a puddle, and then like the camera passes through the puddle to the other side, which is the real world. Right. And I'm like, okay, I have no idea what just transpired in the real world. Right. Like, what did that look like in our world? Like as they're fighting, I have no clue.
He just slipped and fell.
Yeah, I have no idea. They just like stared at each other in a mirror for a minute.
Yeah.
I have no idea. And like, but I'm like, but that's not what Harry Potter was.
No.
Like that's not how the duels ever happened. And if that's what it could be, then why didn't Dumbledore do that during the fight against Voldemort?
Exactly.
Ever?
That's the inherent problem with doing prequels is you can't introduce shit that makes us go, well, why didn't they just do that like later? Is that if that's possible? Is Dumbledore too old for that kind of shit in Harry Potter? Is it like,
but you can't explain that. And unless in this film you're like, well, once you reach the age of 57, you can't do this spell anymore. You know, it's like there's no way to convey that.
It's like it's kind of like when they take your license away because you're too old to drive. Like you're too old for the mirror dimension, Dumbledore.
You
You're gonna
can't
get
use
somebody
the mirror
killed.
dimension anymore.
You crazy old bitch.
Right. And it's just like all this stuff that's just too effect heavy. There's like another scene where there's like, I don't know, just
it's like a direct rip off of Doctor Strange too. It's like
people are like running on paper, like books get ripped apart and the pages become steps that people are running on and like running. And it's just like, I don't know. That feels like something Hermione would have done, but she never did it. So that tells me you just now thought of it.
Yeah.
This is stupid.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the thing. It's got all the worst parts of being a prequel. It's just not a good movie. And the characters are just not interesting. Like no part of this was, I cannot hit that point enough. There is no part of this that's interesting. There is a long sequence in this film where Newt, because there has to be Fantastic Beasts, where Newt runs into these like little scorpion dudes. And the only way he can get rid of the scorpion dudes is to like walk like a scorpion dude. And it's supposed to be this weird, like quirky moment where Newt's like walking like a scorpion and all the scorpions are following him like they're his mom or whatever. And like he's their mom or whatever. And the whole thing is just like, what is the point of any of this? Why are we sidetracking on this when Grindelwald is out there trying to destroy the world, which he's doing by trying to bewitch a deer. Like that's a chillin'. That's the only thing he's doing in this whole thing. It makes no sense. And the whole thing is just so dumb. I'm like, for a movie about the secrets of Dumbledore, the only Dumbledore secret is that he's gay. For the movie The Crimes of Grindelwald, he doesn't do any crimes. He just talks about the crimes he might do one day. And then in this film, he doesn't do them. I guess it's a crime to rig an election, but that's not the crime we all thought he was going to do. Remember, this is like the proto Voldemort. Yeah. This is the guy that Voldemort's compared to.
Right.
Voldemort's out there like murdering people, half-bloods and like trying to restore balance.
Voldemort is a full-blown murdering rapist. I said racist. Sorry, not rapist.
Which version are you watching?
Not that I know of, but I would. He's a dangerous racist, and Grindelwald's like, right now I'm just focused on getting into power by any means necessary.
By winning an election, like dude, Voldemort wasn't worried about who was in office.
Grindelwald is like, I need to have legitimate power, but I'm not. I'm willing to cut corners to get there. Voldemort's like, bro, why don't you just kill everyone? Yeah, just kill everybody.
Just kill them all.
Election? What are you stupid?
hey, you ever hear these words, Avada Kedavra? Done. That takes care of all your problems, bro.
Yeah, forget the deer. Just become a snake man and start killing your neighbors.
There's a moment in this, speaking of Grindelwald and the curses, like he uses the Cruciatus curse on somebody when he clearly should have been killing them. But it's just that it's a main character. Yeah. And I'm like, you see, this is the thing. Like Grindelwald doesn't even kill anybody in this movie or in the last movie, as far as I know. Well, I think he did kill somebody in the last movie. Anyway, it's hard to remember, but in this movie, he doesn't kill anybody. The whole thing's dumb. I hate it's just stupid. None of this matters. And throw in like the uncomfortability of watching Ezra Miller do anything. And the whole thing's just messed up. So
that's another reason they're probably not making another one of these.
Yeah, well, again, on paper, if you're talking about we want to tell the story of Grindelwald's rise to power, and his ultimate defeat. That's an okay idea. Sure, I'd rather you do that than give me the Voldemort prequel. But I don't think the Fantastic Beast moniker was the way to do that.
Mm-mm.
And certainly the way to do that, the way to not do that is giving us terrible characters that we don't care about.
Yeah.
Like, you know, say what you will about the Star Wars prequels, they're bad. To me, they're way more tolerable than this. And the reason is because at least I care about Obi-Wan Kenobi, and at least I care to some degree about Anakin, and I can laugh all day long about how wooden the performance is or how stilted the dialogue. Sure.
Yeah.
But at least on paper, I care about Anakin Skywalker. I don't care about any of these characters, and they don't matter. Anakin Skywalker will become Darth Vader. Okay, great. Obi-Wan Kenobi becomes Obi-Wan Kenobi. It carries over. In this, the only carryover is Dumbledore. And it's just not enough. It doesn't matter enough. Dumbledore wasn't, like, he is a central character to Harry Potter, don't get me wrong. But he's not like the central character. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's still a supporting character. And so it just feels weird. And anyway, I'm done. I don't have that much about this because, again, boring.
Yeah.
Unappealing. Doesn't matter. Not a drop of this will influence the way that you look at Harry Potter, which is what a good prequel should do, is influence the way you look at the original. This doesn't do that. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I the first one, I have not seen the second film, nor will I see this one. And I remember the first one. I don't remember what I gave it, but I think we talked about. I don't remember, but I remember like thinking like, okay, I think I said like it was fine. Like I everything I liked about it had nothing to do with the characters except for like Dan Fogler. I remember thinking like, oh, he was like a bright spot in the film. Everything else was just sort of like. I truly don't remember much about it, but like I remember thinking like, I'm not connected to any of these people, and I have no reason to follow their adventures in this story world. And once I heard the second movie was like not just uninteresting but bad, I just didn't go see it, and then I never saw it, and all I heard about it was bad. I heard one person say this is no, really it's good. And it's just I feel no connection to these characters, this prequel series. I don't see how it is required viewing for Harry Potter, especially because, and here's another reason, Harry Potter was based on a book series. If there had been a Fantastic Beasts book series, kind of like there's a Hobbit, I would have been like, well, at least there's a literary, precedent for these stories being made. Like the Hobbit films aren't great, but like, I mean, they're solid, but like, the Lord of the Rings films are great. The Hobbit movies are not terrible. And they have a literary precedent. Like at least this was okay. Well, there's a reason. Of course you make Hobbit movies. I kind of wish you didn't, but like it's sort of hard to say. It's sort of hard to expect New Line not to do that. But
and
for
at least
Warner
you
Brothers
can see like the original story buried deep within all of the added stuff. Yeah,
that's the thing. That story predated even the Lord of the Rings films. So to say, oh, they shouldn't make Hobbit movies, it's like it's a little unrealistic. And if you like The Hobbit, people have been talking about how good The Hobbit is as a book for years. So there's a reason to make Hobbit films.
Yeah.
Like I will defend the decision to make those to the death.
Yeah.
But the decision to go, all right, we're done with Harry Potter. We don't have any more books to base any of this IP off of. We could do some sequel stuff or we could do some prequel stuff. And I don't know if that was the choice, but if that was the choice, they wisely said, there's no way we're going to do any sequel stuff. None of the actors are going to come back for that, which should have been the first sign of let's not do anything else. But they're like, let's go the prequel route and we're going to do all this other stuff. And it's going to be sort of like we have the book as a source because we're going to have the author come and do the screenplay. Boom. What's up? Pay me. And it's like, no, like there's no story that's here and you're just making one up to make money. And just, that's what this franchise has been for me. It just stinks of cynical cash grab. And you somehow bribed one of the richest women in the world to come along with it with you. And she could have easily been like, no, I'm not interested in that. And I don't know why she agreed to this. And so
I have no
have
idea.
to assume the best and think that she was like, no, I've got some pure interest in it. But from the screenplay, it's like, I don't see any passion here. Like with Harry Potter, you're telling a story of a boy. Like you're telling a story. This is like, I'm just going to etch out some vague, like, story world backstory for you, but I don't see any passion in these stories.
Well, so here's the thing. And we talk about structure a lot. The problem is the films are called Fantastic Beasts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which leads you to believe that Newt Scamander is our protagonist.
Right.
Well, okay, we can say that all day long, but he does not act like it structurally. And the reason I can say that is because he makes no choices to influence the direction of the story.
Mm.
He has no want, no agency, no need or goal that he's striving towards
Mm-hmm.
of his own volition. In this film and in the last film, everything that he's doing is at the behest of Albus Dumbledore.
Mm.
So Dumbledore has a I forget what they're calling it, like an unbreakable vow type thing that he made with Grindelwald when they were young and in love or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he can't move against Grindelwald. So he assembles this team. He's essentially Nick Fury. He assembles a team of the best to take down Grindelwald. And his choices are Newt Scamander, a guy who just has a collection of animals.
He's like a zoologist.
Yeah. And an Auror, Tina,
Mm-hmm.
who is not in this film because I think she didn't get along with J.K. Rowling. And
I liked
Dan
Tina,
Fogler.
damn it.
Yeah. And Dan Fogler, who is a muggle. Like, this is
Mm-hmm.
who Dumbledore picks to go up against the biggest criminal in all of the wizarding world.
Election fraudster.
Yes, correct. And although I guess if all he's doing is bewitching a chillin', you don't need the best. You don't need Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah. Just
but
three buffoons with wildly different skill sets.
The fact that this is Warner Brothers and the fact that we haven't had Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart in a Fantastic Beasts movie is surprising. But can you imagine? But no, don't go down that rabbit hole. But the point is, like that, the thing is, Dumbledore wants something. Dumbledore has a goal,
Mm-hmm.
right? He passes that goal on to Newt. Newt has no goal of his own accord.
Newt is a proxy.
Newt is a proxy. Newt is not making any changes to the story outcome.
Yeah.
Other than just being there and accomplishing the next goal on the list. And so to me, then he's not our protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
But then you could say, okay, so who is the protagonist? It must be Dumbledore because he's the one with the plan and all of that. Well, in the last movie, he's got 10 minutes of screen time.
Mm-hmm.
In this movie, he's got considerably more, but he doesn't participate because he can't. He's got the unbreakable vow. So he's there to give like wisdom and support, but he can't actually do anything. And so the point is, for our protagonist, I don't know who it is. None of them are making actual, like, it's like Dumbledore has the goal, but
Mm-hmm.
not the means, and Newt has the means, but not the goal. And so you have two characters acting as one protagonist, which then means that there is no protagonist.
Right.
And that's the problem structurally, is we don't have a protagonist. We don't have interesting characters to follow or root for or love. And they don't have anything in their lives going for them. So sucks.
Well, at least you didn't see it in theaters.
At least I didn't pay for it and see it in theaters. I have HBO Max, and I will watch a million other movies that are fantastic to justify my payment to HBO Max.
Mm-hmm.
This was just because I could.
Yeah.
And do I recommend you do it? No, I do not. I don't recommend anybody watches any of these films.
Yeah.
Watch Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Hold to that. If you love it, love it, and let that be it. The story is done.
Yeah. Watch
you don't
it
need
again.
any more.
Like, if you really like these so much, like, just do what I did. Just watch them again.
It's so crazy how similar this is to Star Wars.
Yeah.
Because to me, again, Star Wars, that original trilogy, that was it.
Yeah.
Story's done. We don't need anything else. And we have all this other stuff. And same here. Story's done with Harry. We don't need any other stuff. Why is there more stuff?
And then it's the inability of adults to let go of these things, essentially. I mean, it's two things. It's corporations in charge of the intellectual property desiring to make money, and it is the desire to make money is legitimized by adults not being able to let go of things that they liked when they were younger. And, as an adult who likes plenty of things from my childhood, I can empathize, but to a degree, it's like at a certain point though, like if you can never let go, you'll just settle for anything new related to that thing. And to me, if you loved Harry Potter, the books, and you loved the movies, and you can actually like articulate why they're good, not just, oh, I loved the ones. Like at least like to me, if you to watch these movies and go, this is just as good to me as those things are, then you don't love those things the way that you think you do, because you clearly can't differentiate between the quality of those things. To me, if you can look at the Harry Potter films and if you tell me they're all just as good as each other, even then I can't take you seriously. They're not. Yeah. They are not all as good as each other. First two films, kind of weak. And sorry, the other ones progressively better to varying degrees, and those that can be discussed, among friends. But like, accepting anything new with your favorite thing in it can't be the benchmark for what's good.
This is 100% my thought, and it reminds me of a quote I read just yesterday from George R.R. Martin. Mm-hmm. Who said they were talking about toxic fandoms, and George said it used to be that when you were a Star Trek fan, you loved Star Trek, and when you were a Star Wars fan, you loved Star Wars. And he's saying, I don't understand why the fandoms are so toxic now with people who just hate everything that the things put out now. And I'm paraphrasing, and my response to that was like, no. People don't like the people that you're talking about. They do love Star Trek and they do love Star Wars. The problem is the stuff being put out now is not Star Trek and it is not Star Wars, or it is not the same flavor that they loved. That's like saying, hey, I grew up loving vanilla ice cream. Okay, well, here's vanilla banana. Okay, well, I don't like vanilla banana. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it is. It's like, it's close.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's not it.
Yeah.
And so I vehemently disagree with what George R.R. Martin was trying to say, which was you should just like it. And I think the implication being you should also like my stuff.
Well,
just because
his thing is if you like Star Trek, then you'll like any Star Trek because you love Star Trek.
Right.
But it's like, but what people
don't
like
talk
about
bad about Star Trek if you're a Star Trek fan.
But he's missing the whole context of the reason you like a thing is for a specific reason. And then when they take those reasons out of the thing and they just make new things about the thing that have less and less to do with the original thing, how can you be expected to just swallow it up and take it like a sheep? Well, and I'll tell you this, I'm a fan of Chick-fil-A chicken sandwiches. Yes. But if tomorrow they announced that the chicken sandwich was going to be made with the worst ingredients possible and it was going to charge me $15 per sandwich. Yeah.
I would not be on board with that. I'm not just going to say, oh, well, I like Chick-fil-A, so I'll just buy it.
I'll just do it.
No, because it's not what I'm a fan of.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Chick-fil-A as is, not this new whatever. And so that's the thing. You can't just eat it up and you can't just say, this is marginally related to Harry Potter, so therefore I love it. Yeah. No, you have to judge it on its own merits and say, I can still absolutely love Harry Potter and absolutely hate Fantastic Beasts. And and still consider myself a fan of the Wizarding World.
Also, like, if the best things about these movies are the effects and the production design, which are easily achieved once you've established a look based in other films, sorry, that almost earns 0 points for what makes a film good, Right. Like those are visual effects assets that are probably still in their computers. Yeah, and production design. I mean, like Stuart Craig's great,
Yeah.
but it's based on a look that's already been established. So if that's your benchmark, it's it just feels like the other movies. No, not really. Not really.
No. They go to Hogwarts once. That and then you get the John Williams music and everyone goes, "Ooh, oh, it's Harry Potter." And it's like, no, it's not. It's just some random extras in robes. This is not the same thing.
Do you remember in that trailer for the first movie, used Hedwig's theme, in the trailer?
Yeah.
And it was like, man, we're not even at Hogwarts.
Yeah. Why are you using this?
Yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah. Yep. But they learned the lesson after that. And in the second one and in this one, they make sure to go to Hogwarts and they make sure that you're like, look, people playing Quidditch.
Oh,
and
that's
what this film does. It's literally like a sweeping shot through Hogwarts, and there's like a snitch that is on the screen. The lens, and it's like no, and then like a seeker, and they're like,
the snitch breaks the fourth wall. Is this a movie? It's a movie, guys. Cool. Look, a movie.
And they're not even on the Quidditch pitch. They're just like flying around willy nilly. It doesn't make any sense. And then of course, it goes down to the courtyard or whatever. And there's like a lady and they're like, "Hey, Minerva, take your students in there," or whatever. And it's like, oh, cool.
Oh boy.
That's McGonagall, I guess. Cool.
Boy, is she that old?
Yeah.
Woo. Yeah.
I saw something that said that J.K. Rowling screwed up her own timeline by adding McGonagall in there.
Oh yeah, you don't say.
There's something weird. I don't know what it is. I don't know enough about it, but something. But yeah. Anyway, so and then they go to the Great Hall and that kind of stuff, and it's supposed to make you go, oh, cool.
Oh my god.
And instead, I'm like, oh, cool. A building that doesn't exist. Oh, cool.
Oh, cool. A 3D model.
Oh, a 3D model and a bunch of random children in robes. Oh.
Chillins.
Chillins.
Chillins in robes.
Chilling like a villain in my robe.
All right. Well, that's Fantastic Beasts and where to never watch them.
Yes.
I guess.
Correct.
Where to never watch them is HBO Max. And
HBO Max.
If you live in the past, the theaters.
Correct.
And hopefully in the future, there will not be more of these.
Yep.
Yeah. Boy.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, let's wrap this thing up and go chilling in our beds.
Yeah. Ugh. I like that. All right, cool. We'll do that. That's it. I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know what to say.
I was waiting for the outro. I was waiting for you to be like, I'm all right, everybody.
I've given up. I'm just
nothing.
Terrible at these now. I can't do it anymore.
I can't believe we talked about Fantastic Beasts that long. I literally thought my review of that was going to be, it sucks.
No.
Stop.